Hello, this is Ryan the Com. I was working on a video about conjuration in the Amazing Digital Circus, and if that's been released, you could find it in the link in the video description right now. Otherwise, that's still in the works. But at this moment, the Digital Circus trailer for episode 9, the series finale, dropped, and I want to give you all a frame-by-frame analysis of the trailer. Without further ado, let's just take a look at this seemingly hopeless video. We start with this image of the decaying gray circus. It's no longer the Amazing Digital Circus, because the first shot of the trailer just shows, the state of the circus as it is now. You could see the edges of the various holes that Kane's deletion had caused. Interestingly, the circus is not gone, yet certain pieces are removed. Does this mean the circus is just going to continually decay? Like, do they have a time limit?
Are you sure?
This is interspersed between scenes of black edits with voice lines from Pomni, and then, here's Ragatha. That means they're trapped in the circus forever.
Are you sure?
And it just cuts to black. Here we see another shot of Kinger in his bucket helmet. He's meeting up with the rest of the survivors, and I think it relates to this scene, the very ending scene for episode 8.
I think I accidentally killed Kane.
Because what follows those voice lines are scenes of just, regret and mourning and other negative emotions. Here we see each survivor, in particular here, Zooble and Gangle sitting next to each other. So that colorful scenery from episode 6, where they were sitting together, and they're now just sitting in a colorless section of the circus. It's important to note that Zooble looks completely different from episode 8. They're wearing different parts, particularly their yellow hand again, which I think signifies their acceptance of Jax. It's clear to me that Zooble's parts still work after Kane, which is definitely lucky for them. Gangle, meanwhile, looks like her normal, uncheery self, quite fitting for how episode 8 ended. After all, the world as they know it has clearly ended. Here we see that Ragatha is just in a state of despair, with Pomni trying to cheer her up. The reason why I think it's Pomni is because of her red glove and gold trim design, which currently Zooble isn't wearing in the trailer. So Pomni is just trying to comfort Ragatha. I wonder what they're talking about. I think it's just Ragatha coming to terms that the world has ended. Maybe they're crying together. I mean, geez, it's just such a sad trailer. Here we have Pomni. She sees something. With Pomni in the gray circus lobby, there's clearly pitfalls on the floor. I'm not sure, but this looks like it's in a similar spot as to where she saw the exit door in episode 1, and the same one that she managed to summon in episode 8. I can't prove it, but I think Pomni will be going through the exit door one last time. It's just a guess, though.
Please, just now, we have nothing.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
So here we get a really, really good turnaround of Jax. Two separate things. First, visually, we just see Jax in a fully colored environment, right? It's the circus for real, with Kane still there. I think he's in the bedroom hallway. It's clear to me that this is a scene from the past, especially given the fact that we see Ribbit later on in the trailer. We all know that she abstracted.
We have nothing.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Here they are talking. Pomni is saying, I don't know what's going to happen. Jax was also just saying earlier that there's nothing anymore, and she's just like trying to console him. So it's just, them lamenting the current state of the circus. They're just coming to terms. I don't think Jax is taking it too well. And it shows. We have a shot of close up. His face is shadowed like an anime protagonist about ready to give some bad news. But I think it's Jax processing the end of the world as he knows it. I wonder if this is the scene before his supposed tantrum or outburst. So Kinger is kind of looking at the ground, pretty serious, just staring off into the void. Given the look of actual stress that he has, at least from the lines surrounding his eyeballs, I don't think he's reverting back to a forgetful state. I think it's how Kinger is dealing with the end of the digital world as he knows it. This is the face of a murderer, people. Remember that. Look at this guy. He killed Kane. And now they have to work with those consequences. So anyway, we get this interesting scene, this rendition of Jax with him going through television fuzz, essentially. So he, what is this image representing exactly? If it has to be symbolic, I don't think it bodes well for Jax. It's the representation of Jax's feelings, I think. Ever since episode 7, where he almost abstracts, he's been through a whirlwind of emotion and confrontation, right? From remembering his old friends that have since abstracted, and now having to confront the reality of the digital circus since Kane's death in episode 8, where Pomni and Kinger showed him how they spawned in the circus in the first place, through brain scans or through the use of a digital headset. Add to the fact that you can't properly process this without Kane's demise getting in the way. What is left after this? I think what's left is abstraction. Or, okay, he's holding his breath, because we don't know what Jax does when he's not breathing, right? So here now we have Zooble, Pomni, and Ragatha looking over a balcony. It's still in the gray circus. Their emotions seem one of surprise, perhaps except for Ragatha. She actually looks horrified. So at what? I think I know the answer to that question. If it's not, Jax abstracting, then perhaps it's a look at the other abstractions breaking out of Kane's cellar, where he's been holding them ever since episode 1. It's very possible. After all, Kane is no longer there to put them into their place. Here, Jax is looking through an opened doorway. I don't think he's in the middle of abstracting here. He's still got his clothes on, for example, unlike in episode 7. Jax looks surprised to be seeing whatever he's looking at. I'm not sure what it could be, but I think he's still in the gray circus. Oh, look at Pomni. She's just crying right now. I think this is her just feeling some shame and despair. She's just in a fit of it. If I had to fathom a guess just from this trailer alone, it's likely that Pomni blames herself for putting the survivors in this situation in the first place. Ragatha, where are you? Well, poor Ragatha is just like, she's not having a good time. I wonder if this is taking place in the same scene with Pomni. It's possible, and if that's the case, I wonder if Ragatha has it in her to cheer Pomni up in the first place. It makes sense that this is part of the same scene, because one, they did that in episode 7, where a lot of the scenes were just them talking together. Not only that, because right afterwards we have Ragatha asking, what do we do now? And Pomni answers back, I really wanted to help. And I think that's just her, tearing up in the scene. She is not having a good time, and I think she's in despair, just like how she got into despair in episode 3.
What do we do now?
I really wanted to help.
So now we have Zooble. It's a standard shot, nothing much to really talk about or describe, other than that I find it interesting that Zooble's wearing their Skywing. Perhaps they're trying to conjure better days? Either way, I think they're talking here or making some sort of point. Here we have Pomni. I don't know exactly where she's at. I think she's just hanging out in the gray circus in the scene, but gets into conversation with somebody, or perhaps someone is just getting her attention. No clue. This one was an interesting one. Is it a rehash into Gangle's adventure in episode 4, where she was doing the Spudsy adventure? The vibrant color suggests that this is a recent flashback. After all, the mask is the one that Zooble somehow conjured for Gangle, and that was back in episode 4. So I think it's more of a flashback. She throws this mask away even when she gets hit by a semi-truck gun in episode 4. This is probably the most frightening scene in the trailer, because what's happening out there is the void, right? So if this is the Amazing Digital Circus and it's not like in the past, right? Because if it was in the present, and I think it is, considering the grayscale here, it could just be that nighttime in the digital realm there. But I think it's the gray circus still decaying, at least as soon as I saw the scene. Does this mean that the digital circus is being enveloped by a black hole, maybe? It just doesn't look good here. So I think the survivors of the circus, they're gonna be under some sort of countdown into their destruction, and they have to find a way out or perish forever. Here's another scene of the past with Jax. I mean, this is like what, the 6th or 7th shot of Jax in the trailer. Do you think this movie is about Jax at this point? Because at this point, I think so. It's a huge deal with Jackson here. I mean, just look at the trailer poster. And, here Jax is throwing that tantrum that I was thinking about at first. Maybe it's not so much of a tantrum, though. Maybe it's his own serving of the truth. Ragatha is freaking out, for example, and just look at Zooble here. They just look defeated, looking down at the ground. I don't think Pomni likes what he's saying. Meanwhile, I think Gangle's just react to Jax like how she usually does, which I don't think bodes well. I think he's coming back to form with his personality here or something. And here's a worried Pomni, later on she says, Jax, right? So I think here Pomni is just entering through Jax's door, but I'm not sure if she encounters what she wants to see. It could be a reconciliation moment for them, but given the fact that the trailer art features Jax and the Jax scenes just featuring him in an utter state, and the ominous television fuzz Jax shot, even if it is him breathing, I don't know. I think it's possible he's going to abstract. Thus far, Pomni has saved the survivors of the circus by being there on time before they could go over the edge. For example, with Gangle and of course with Jax in episode 7. I think it's safe to say that she's trying to talk to Jax after his outburst.
Jax?
Ugh, that's so chilling.
Have you ever done something that you regret?
Oh, hold the phone.
That you regret?
I mean, that's just Ribbit right there. Look at that. Not only is that Ribbit, but that is clearly Jax's arm right there, and it looks like part of his torso. So I think this is Jax's point of view. I mean, so much happens in this scene anyway, where Ribbit's just talking to Jax. Have you ever done something you regret is an interesting conversation starter, really. I really look forward to what this flashback unfolds. Anyway, I think this is Ribbit's room or an adventure that they were on. It feels really personal, though. So I'm leaning on room. Ribbit's room. Were Ribbit and Jax in a secret relationship? Because this is pretty personal. I mean, that's pretty crazy. That's so cool that we're getting it like this. So no matter the results during the conclusion of the Amazing Digital Circus, we're certainly in for a treat. What's really, really interesting is the fact that Glitch will be premiering the last episode early, at theaters, no less. They're calling it the Amazing Digital Circus, the last act. What I think is going to be stressful for everybody is the fact that the movie theater release will be a full 15 days early, June 4th, compared to the YouTube and Netflix release on June 19. One thing I can fully predict here, if you aren't at the movie theaters, it's going to be guaranteed that there will be spoilers. I don't think the hardcore fans of the series will be able to help themselves, so people that want to experience the last act on June 19th will have to be careful of spoilers. I'm personally on the fence as to whether or not I'll go to the theatrical release. I want to do another watch party with everyone, my viewers, after all. I feel like doing one after knowing what happens could sour the experience. So what do you think of this? Will you be seeing this early in theaters? Do you want me to hold off on it? That's up to you, the viewers, to decide. Thanks for telling me your thoughts, or hyping this video. It really helps out the channel. Either way, thanks especially for watching.